Good morning, folks. How you guys doing today? Happy Monday. Yeah, sweet. There we go. All right. How you guys doing? We are on week 4 already. Holy cow. This week, or this semester's flying by. It is February. Happy February, by the way. So we now we'll be moving into new stuff. If you don't feel good, a hat. Oh my goodness, you keep doing that for me. People keep doing the hat thing, and I don't ever keep my hat in here. Where did I put my hat? Where's my hat? Hang on, I got this one. All right, this is my daughter's hat. She left it in my office. We'll try this one. Just for you, Dusty. We're gonna rock it. Okay? It's sunny out today. Hydration, yes. Hopefully you guys have your coffee. Have your coffee here. All right. So, decision structures. Now, finally, our programs are going to start to be a little smarter here. Right? The things that we've done so far, it will do this, and it'll 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 do this, and that's it. Beginning to end. Now, at least we learned we could get some input from the users, and like our friend the deck or the fence contractor, right? We could ask them some questions, then give us some answers, and we could do some arithmetic based on the information provided. So we've moved from you will do the exact same step, print out the exact same thing every time, to I will do the same algorithm, but you can give me different inputs, and based on your inputs changing, the output will change. Right? But still, it's this step, and then this step, and then this step, and then this step. We don't have any, what we might call logic in there necessarily. It's just, it does this arithmetic, and it does this, and it does this, and it does this. So now with decision structures, we get to make our computer smarter. Not entirely smart, but smarter, at least. So we can now make some choices based on information. And again, the idea here is that we're going to be changing our behavior based on certain variables, right? So you might say, hey, if it's sunny out, you should wear a sweet hat like this. You don't want to get sunburned. If it's not sunny out, you probably don't need the hat, right? That sort of idea here. And there's a relatively common way of sketching this out. Let's see what we got here. So you might say, we might ask the user, right? So as we're just kind of getting some ideas down here, we might say, hey, ask user if it is sunny, right? Is there a big ball, bright sun out there? I guess that's not really a question. Maybe that shouldn't be a question mark. Let's just ask them, right? If they say yes, if yes, right, then I want hat. If not, right, or you might say, I mean, this is getting a little bit more codey here, but you might say, if yes, wear a hat. Otherwise, right? How about otherwise? I like otherwise. Otherwise, No, hat. I don't know. No hat. I don't know what you do if it's not sunny out. Sure. Right, so we're just kind of sketching out an idea. If you were to draw this in a diagram, a lot of times people like this diamond symbol. It's like a square on its side, right? So you have something coming in, right? And then you have something here, yes, something here, no. So this diamond here is your decision, right? So this indicates the decision. And I know I've got it somewhere because I'm terrible. The I-S-I-O-N, decision. Right, so this is sunny. Yes or no? So you can imagine like our code, you know, we've got this line and then this line and then this line and then this line. And then we'll do something if yes and something if no. Right, and then they just join back up. I don't know. Sure. And then we do something, and we do something, and we do something, and we do something, and we do something. Right, so far, before we had decisions, our code would just do line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, on and on and on. Now we can do something different. If there's a yes, we can do this. Or if it's no, we can do this. Right, we're going to make our code a little bit smarter. So let's check it out. Let me close out this project and start a new one here. All right, so make sure I put it in the right folder. This doesn't usually change on you guys, but because I'm doing a bunch of stuff, it does change. So 1500 winter, there we go. I can find the right one, and this is chapter 3. All right, awesome. So we got our starter template again. I'm just going to take out the comments because I don't care. Okay. So we might say, hey, let's go figure out whether or not we should wear our awesome hat. So I'm going to use the scanner. Right, so scanner is the type here. I'm going to call it keyboard because that's what Mr. Gaddis does, and we're going to follow his example. Equals a new scanner given system.in. When we get to chapter 4, we're going to learn you can put different things inside of here, which is fun. But for now, that's okay. And it's not yelling at me yet. Where's my... Oh, it's still scanning behind the scenes. It is slow. Slow today. Come on, tools. Maybe I can cancel that? Yes. It's not possible. Okay. Maybe. I tried to cancel it because it has a cancel button. It said, are you sure? And then I said, you can't. So, okay. There we go. Now we get the red line. And, okay, I guess we could have just done this ourselves. We could have come up here up to some line number, right? If we want to do it the hard way, and say import java.util.scanner, and then that red line goes away. That's all clicking this little button does for us. It just puts this line of code in for us. I'm a big fan of being lazy. All right. Although once you take 2151 next semester, you'll learn a couple more tips that I'm not going to show you yet, because you should probably do it by hand a couple times before you figure out the lazy way. I did have a couple of people in class get mad at me, like, why didn't you show us this last semester? And I don't know, is that too much of like the Jedi Master to be like, you weren't ready yet? Sure. We will not award you the rank of Jedi Master, but you can sit on the council. All right, so we got our scanner here, and then we're going to have a string for, what are we going to say, like, is sunny equals, well, it should be keyboard, next line. Underestimate your power. Next line. But before we get the next line here, we probably want to like ask them here, like, hi there, is it sunny out? My computer eyes don't work. And then we can get whatever they entered as the next line and save it as is sunny. Configure unused element hint. Well, so until you use keyboard, it's going to be warning you about it. It's going to warn you about sunny as well, too. Like this variable sunny is not used. And that's okay. It's trying to tell you, hey, you named something and you're not using it ever again. And that seems suspicious. A little bit suspicious. Like that variable's sus. We gotta, you know, if you're not using it anywhere else, maybe it is the imposter. Yeah, you can turn it off though. Definitely, there's ways to turn it off. It's in options somewhere, I'm sure. Maybe. I don't know. I've never actually turned it off, but I'm sure it's in there. We can search later if you want. Okay. All right. How about now we go do something, right? So we want to check if they told me yes, and if they didn't tell me yes, otherwise. Or you might say else. So if, else, if, else. And it's else in Java. It's else in a lot of programming languages. So we get an if and we get an else. Excuse me. And you don't have to have the else either. You're welcome to just have an if. I find that tends to confuse people. So I always just introduce them together, but you don't have to have one. So we can say if, and then what we do is we give a set of parentheses. Okay, so inside the set of parentheses, if whatever's in here is true, this block of code will run. And notice I put in some curly braces. This is just habit of mine. I am going to say you should always, 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 always have curly braces after an if. Mr. Gaddis in the book and the fine folks who wrote Java will tell you it's not necessarily required if you only want one line of code to be attached to the if. And I say, well, that's silly. Just always put them in because it's just easier to be consistent. Just always put them in. Okay, so I will always have the curly braces here after if. And remember what we said about curly braces is they kind of define this thing called scope, or I said like belongs to or ownership of or attached to. So like everything we've done so far has been inside the curly braces of main, right? Because we belong to main. Our scope is main, right? And all of that is inside of the curly braces of this chapter 3 class thing. Don't worry about that. We'll get to that later. Okay? So we're going to do our own set of curly braces and say everything inside the curly braces here belongs to this if statement. If whatever comes in here is true, I'm going to do this block of code. Anything inside the curly braces. And yep, sure. Put the curly brace up there. Go for it. Right? And then we'll say you should wear a funny hat. Okay? So we need to check, hey, what did they enter? So we're going to compare is sunny. And now we get a new set of operators. And actually they're not all new. One of them is funny, but we could say greater than or equal to. We could say less than or equal to. Those ones probably don't make sense if we're checking, hey, did they enter the word yes or not? You get a double equal sign for equals. Did they enter yes? Double equals. And hopefully this makes sense that we don't use a single equal sign because that's the assignment operator. Remember we use that to say, hey, I'm assigning you a value. The thing over here, store over here. So we can't use a single equal sign. So the double equal sign is, are you equal to? You might also have a not equals to. And now in programming land, in Java, the exclamation mark means not. So not equals here, or equals, right? Or equals. Or not equals. So if it equals yes, we should print hat. Then what I'm going to say, again, you could just do this all by itself. You know, have fun outside, and it will run if is sunny is yes. Now it's giving me a warning here, and don't worry about it here. We'll figure that out in just a minute. I want to show you. Numbers were probably a better example, but that's okay. So let's run it. Let's see what happens. Come on, NetBeans, it's Monday. Oh, compile on save. Go to my properties, go to compiling, uncheck compile on save, hit OK, then hit run. I don't know why it does that. That's the weirdest thing. The amount of time I spent complaining about it, I might have been able to find a real fix, but so let's say yes. Have fun inside. It didn't do this, you should wear a funny hat. There's a problem. So this equal sign works for numeric values, not for strings. And that's why it's giving me this little warning here. Right? And they're saying it will still run, but Java won't do the right thing. Equals except for strings. Ha 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 ha. Okay? So what we have to do, if we're using a string, Java's dumb. And what the equal sign is checking is, are they at the same location in memory? For whatever reason. I'm sure it made a lot of sense to somebody, but it doesn't give you what you want. So click the little question mark and say use equals. And you can do this either direction. I like this direction. I don't know why. So we'll say is sunny.equals yes. So the equals here, now we're going to say, hey, this string, does it equals yes? Now let's try it. So the double equal sign and the not equals will work for numeric values, but not for strings. Maybe I shouldn't have done the string first. That's okay. So I'll say yes, and then it should say, I'll wear my funny hat. Have fun outside. Okay? Except for strings. So we can put, this is a Boolean expression. Remember, Booleans are either true or false. They're either on or they're off. Right? So eventually, something inside this set of parentheses here has to be a true or false, on or off, yes or no. Because it needs to be, if this is true, run this code. If it's not true, don't run that code. Okay, so that's for strings. So we have to use the equals. If you want to check if it does not equal something, you also have a logical operator. So we get a logical operator, right? You can use not. So I can say if exclamation is sunny equals yes. So that's not is sunny equals yes. And not just gives you the opposite. So not true is false. Not false is true. Right? So not, it reverses a true or false. And if you just say it out loud enough times, like not true, well, it's got to be false. And if it's not false, it's got to be true. Right? Does that ring a bell? You guys are quiet in chat today. Hopefully that doesn't mean everything broke. I know, we're getting into new stuff. This is fun stuff. All right, so we figured out whether or not it's sunny. Now we should probably ask them what the temperature is. Temp. I'll just go with temp, because temperature, sure, why not? I always yell when people use abbreviations, so I'll just do my bad spelling. All right, so let's ask them. So, oops. Let's say, what's the temperature? Hey, Oakstone. I mean, anybody can chat. That's fine. Anybody can chat. All right. So what's the temperature? Remember, if we're dealing with numeric values, I can't use next line, because the next line gives me strings here. And I'll say, hey, you can't assign a string to an int. Incompatible types. String cannot be converted to int. It's no good. So we have to use that helper method that will convert. Again, I know you can say next int here. I don't like doing this because it screws up the keyboard scanner thing for next time I want to use it. So I always recommend you convert. You say integer.parseInt. And I feel good about using an integer value for temperature because I don't ever have people tell me it's 74.5 degrees outside. Never in my life has anyone ever told me that. Ever. Or 23.2 or something with a decimal point. Right? No one does it. Even with Celsius. I mean, unless like you're asking what your body temperature is, if they say what's the temperature outside, no one gives me decimals, even in metric. Which we should use the metric system because it actually makes sense instead of our ridiculous system. There's a fun story. If you guys ever are curious, you should go ask Prof. Melko, the amazing chemistry professor out of Florida, why Fahrenheit is a terrible system. It's literally a ridiculous system. It's a really funny story. I learned, just nonsensical. So sure, why not? So we'll ask him what the temperature is. Okay. Now we can check. Hey, we all live in, well, most of us probably live here in Michigan because you're taking this class here at OCC. So if you're a native of Michigan, we're going to say, hey, if the temperature, and now we're going to use some of those relational operators. So relational, like equals or not equals. That's how we relate. You know, are we equal or not? Or maybe greater than or equal to. So let's say, okay, if it's greater than or equal to, or how about maybe less than or equal to. So maybe if it's less than 50 degrees, we should do something. Oops, sorry, I should put that up here. Now, if it's less than 50 degrees, let's say you should grab a jacket. Okay, over 50? Sure, we're good. We're just maybe long sleeve t-shirt, maybe. You know, maybe even t-shirt weather. We're all good here if it's not less than 50. Right, so maybe now we'll throw in if it's else. We'll say otherwise, what should we do? So this if will run if the temperature is less than or equal to 50. Otherwise, we'll say be fine in a shirt. Okay, so again, this sort of idea, we have this decision point. So if it's sunny, we'll do one thing or not, and then we'll keep on going, and then we can say, hey, what's the temperature? Another decision here. Temp less than 50. We'll do one thing if yes. We'll do another thing if no. And then we just keep on going here. We meet up and we keep on going. We write more code. Okay, let's try it. All right, is it sunny out? Yes. What's the temperature? Right now, what is it, like 23 degrees or something? So we should probably grab a jacket. We'll have fun outside. Yeah, I made a mistake the other night. I went to go get pizza for dinner, and I showed up at Jets on a Friday night at about 6 p.m., and there's a line out the door of Jets Pizza. I mean, they were letting 3 people in at a time, and one person decided they wanted to wait inside for their order and didn't care about the rest of us. Instead of going and waiting in their car, they wanted to wait in the shop. Whatever, sure. So I was like the 5th or 6th person out the door, and people would go in, get their pizza, come out, go in, and a couple of people, their order wasn't ready, they go back out to the car, whatever. But I only grabbed my jacket, and it was cold to stand there. You know, the jacket's fine if you're just running in and out of stores. You know, you're only outside for a minute, maybe. But standing outside for like 10 minutes in the cold was sad. And I couldn't go back to the car because there were people in line behind me. So I had to stand there with my jacket on, feeling bad about myself, and thinking maybe I should have grabbed a winter coat. Right? Oh, yeah, Jets is good pizza. Definitely good pizza. I think that's the favorite around here. Yeah, my kids seem to like Jets a lot. As long as it's not the hot and ready. I mean, the kids will eat a hot and ready pizza, but it's just so boring. Like, it's not even worth it. Not even worth it at that point. Hey, Jets, if you're out there, you are welcome to sponsor this stream, by the way, and donate to the Student Scholarship Fund. You know, just in case. Ooh, Jets bread. Yeah. Jets bread is good. So what if we need some additional checking in here? Right, because Eric's stupid, and if it's like below freezing, I might want more than just a jacket. You know, this jacket here, It's nice and it's warm and cozy, but it doesn't really do the trick if it's freezing out. Let's see if I can throw this on here. Oh, my hat! I'm losing it. Uh-oh. Okay, I'll come back. I'm actually cold up here right now. Just my shirt. There we go. Okay. You may or may not work at Jets. That sounds like an if statement there. Is that Pasty? Is it the Pasty Prince? Is that your username? That's amazing. I love pasties. Okay. How's that? I think we're good here. So if we want some more interesting logic here, let's come back here. We'll add a new line. Life is short, eat better pizza. Yeah. So we want a couple different things here, right? So we're going to say like greater than or equal to 50 is fine. Just that's a shirt weather, right? If it's between, say, like 50 to 32, that's jacket weather. I did this way in the wrong spot here. That's like, I can't, that's fine. Okay. Whoa, I lost it. And if it's less than 32, maybe that's coat weather, right? How about that? Can we do 3 different sections here? Right, greater than or equal to 50, 50 to 32, and less than 32. We could do that, right? Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay. So we're gonna change this here. Oops. You know what? That's fine. We'll just we'll leave that for now. We'll come back to that. Okay. So we said if the temperature is greater than 50, right? We said you'll be fine in a shirt. So notice there's more than one way to write this. Right? This was if it's less than 50 or it's greater. Now we're going to do the opposite. We're going to say, hey, if it's greater than or equal to 50, or maybe just greater than, right? What are these? Greater than or equal to? Doesn't matter. Either one's okay. Then we might say if temperature is less than 50, and then we wanted a range here. So we wanted between 32 and 50. Now you can't do this in Java. Other languages like Python, yes, but not in Java. So this is no good if I want this to be between. So what I have to do is I have to use logical operators. I want to take more than one statement and I want to combine them. You know why the int temperature, you might have spelled it wrong. Integer dot parseInt. Yeah, if you spelled it wrong, it won't like it. So if we want this range here, we need to do some special stuff. So we're going to say less than 50, and so in Java, ampersand is and. So this is a logical and. Temperature is greater than 32. Then we can do some stuff here. That's a logical and. So it's saying if this is true and this is true, then we can say we should grab a jacket. I'm just going to copy paste. Then we could say if temperature is less than or equal to 32, you might want a coat. Okay, so we have 3 different sections here, right? So we said if it's greater than or equal to 50, you'll be fine in a shirt. If it's less than 50 and greater than 32, you should grab a jacket. If it's less than 32, you might want a coat. Notice these are all just single ifs here. So if they're all just single ifs, what happened to my slippers? My feet are cold. If they're all single ifs, it's possible that they could all run. Now, I know that these conditions here will make sure that this will never be true in more than one statement, because we know temperature can only have one value, and we did our ranges here this way. Right? So we have them all just as single ifs here. Now this logical and here, there's ands and there's ors. And I always like to tell people the difference here. Just imagine you're in line at McDonald's. and you go and you make your order, and you say, hey, I want a quarter pounder with cheese, because those are actually decent burgers nowadays, and they're supposedly cooked fresh, so that, you know, it's not been sitting in the warmer for however long. Like when you order it, they're supposed to make the quarter pounder patty and cook it fresh for you, so you're getting something, you know, that hasn't been sitting around for an hour. If you work at McDonald's and that's not the case, please don't tell me. I want to imagine that that's what happens, because that's what they told me. You know, everything tastes better if you think it's fresh. But let's say when I order my quarter pounder with cheese, they'll say, do you want fries with that? And I say, no, your fries are terrible and gross. So if someone says, do you want a burger and fries at McDonald's? I'm going to say, no, I don't want fries. Because their fries are nasty. They're bland, they're boring, they're horrible, they're oversalted. They're just worthless. No, McDonald's fries are the worst. You have to get fries from Wendy's. Wendy's fries are much better. But if they say, do you want burger and fries? It's automatically a no, because I don't want the fries. If they say, do you want a burger or fries? Then yes, obviously I want the burger, right? Because if you want either one of the things, and they say or, then yes, it's true, because I like burgers. Do you want a burger or fries? Yes. Then obviously the next question should be, well, which one do you want? Because they asked me a bad question. But if they say, do you want a burger and fries? No, please don't give me the fries. And it's like $3 almost for a fry nowadays for potatoes. Like, they so overcharge for fries, it's ridiculous. Like, it just offends me how expensive their fries are. Oh, no, I can't stand their fries. No. So, and both sides have to be true for it to be a yes, for it to be true. Right? So they make a nice little chart in here. They say, let's just put another here. So if we say true and true, right, with an and, come on. True and true equals true. True and false is false, because one side is false. False and true is still false, because one side is false. And then false and false, the whole thing is false. So with and, both sides have to be true to make it true. Ooh, White Castle. They just don't have one near me. There's no White Castle out by my way. Okay, that's for anding. Now for ors, right? Let's see. Can we find some more page here? I'll just do another page. There we go. For ors, right? If either side is true, and now or is pipe. I'll show you that in a minute. Equals true. True or false, it's true. False or true is still true. The only time an or is false is if they're both false. Right? If neither is true, you get false for an or here. So in this case, we were anding these together because I want it has to be less than 50 and greater than 32 for my jacket. Okay, so these are all independent. These are independent if statements. More than one could run if I do the logic wrong. Statements. M-E-N-T-S, that looks better. Statements. So obviously I know temperature can't be more than one of these things, so only one will run. Let's give it a shot. Okay, so yes, it's sunny out, and say it's 50 degrees out. The first one says we should grab a jacket because it's equal to, right? The next one says, oh, you should be finding a shirt because it equals 50. Right, so just be careful when you do those. Now, another way you could do these here, I'll show you this, is we can use this else statement here. Okay, so we can say if temperature is greater than or equal to 50, I'm just going to copy that one here. This is using if-else chains. We'll do the exact same thing here. Now we're going to say else if. So if this is not true, else, we'll now check if this is true. Now I can say if temperature is greater than 32. So if temperature is greater than 50, run this. If it's not greater than 50, check this. Is it greater than 32? The reason this is nice here is I get, if this is true, great. If this one is true, well, I will never get to here if this is true. Because if this is true, the else doesn't run, right? They are mutually exclusive. It's one or the other. Right? The term mutually exclusive is our technical term for that. So we only ever get one, either this one or this one. They cannot both run. So we'll say the if and else are mutually exclusive. Mutually exclusive. Only one will run. And it's one and only one will run, right? Either this or this. It has to be. There's no choice here. With this one, it might run, it might not. There's no other case, right? So this is, you get it if it's true, nothing if it's not. With an else, you either get the if or you get the else. So what we're doing down here, we're saying, okay, if temperature is greater than 50, do that. If it's not, now come here. Now I'm going to do check again, if. So this is called a chain. You can chain them together. So if it's not greater than 50, hey, is it greater than 32? So I don't need to check, hey, is it also less than 50? Because it can't get here if it's not less than 50. Because if this runs, they're mutually exclusive. Only one will run. Okay? I know it's got to be here. Then I can just go right to this else. If it's not greater than 50, it's not greater than 32, it must be less than 32 or equal to. And I'll say wear a coat. Right, let me give that a format. Nope, shoot, format, yeah. Shift Alt F. Shift Alt F for format. So this is almost identical to this, right? These were independent if statements. These ones are a chain. So I'm forcing Java to run one and only one of these. And now even this else case here is optional. You don't have to have an ending else. You can just have if, else if, else if, else if, else if. And you can have as many of these as you want. Right? We could check, hey, if it's less than 0 degrees Fahrenheit, you definitely need a good coat, that sort of thing. I mean, we could add in as many as we want, right? Why not? Why not? So we'll have else if temperature is greater than 0. Temperature, why didn't it all suggest that for me? We'll say you might want a coat. And if it's not greater than 0, then else you need a good coat. Right? Just adding in more and more and more conditions. One and only one of these will run. So if we think back to our little picture of it here, right? So we might say, let's get temp. And then we'll go down to our first diamond. Right? This is greater than 50. If yes, we have t-shirt. If no, this is no, we have another diamond. It just feeds right into another one. This is greater than 32. If yes, we say jacket. And then, so then the code like just picks up back after where it left off here. And then over here, if no, we have greater than 0. It says yes. If it's greater than 0, we have coat. C-O-A-T, right? And then it keeps on going. If no, not off of here, another no, we have another diamond. Right? Actually, in this case, no, there's no diamond, right? We just said, hey, this is, if no, you need good coat. And then it picks back up. So eventually, they will pick back up into this main line of code here. Does that picture make sense? Right, so we have 3 different decision points. And we'll either get off of it here and go to the t-shirt, or we'll get off on jacket, or we'll get off on coat. If we don't get off on any of those, we get off on the good coat. And so one and only one of these will run. Right? We're saying, hey, if you don't take this exit, check this one. If you don't take that exit, check this one. If you don't take that exit, well, you got to get off the road here. Here's where your code's going to go. And we can run it. Right? Let's try a really cold one here. Let's say like -1. We need the good coat. Right? The first one says, oh, you should grab a jacket because it's less than 50. The next one says you might need a coat because it's less than 32. You might want a coat. And this last one says you need a good coat because it is not less than, it's not greater than 50, it's not greater than 32, it's not greater than 0. It must be this last one here, this else. So this is a chain of if, else if, else if, else if statements. You guys all right so far? What do you think? We're figuring out how to make the computer smarter. Okay. Let's do someone else here now. Let's ask the user for what's the price of GameStop stock today. And we'll have an int for stock price. That should probably be a double, right? Because there's decimal places there. GameStop stock price. And again, if we are using this keyboard scanner, don't use next double. Use double.parseDouble, keyboard.nextLine. And let's take the next line. Oops, semicolon. Okay, and then we need to check. So what's our threshold? If the price is less than what are we going to buy? Buy. Else hold. So at what price are we going to buy GameStop stock? Take a peek. I'm still checking it on Robinhood. I feel bad. I'm working on transferring away from them because they're garbage people. And like at first they said they're not going to let people buy stocks for your protection against volatility, and then they came out with a blog post and said, "Oh no, we're doing it because the broker said we need to keep more cash in our account, and we're running out of cash. But don't worry, we're fine as a company." Like they're just garbage people. Like just don't lie to your people. If you needed to have more money, you should have said that the first time. Not we're protecting you from volatility. Oh, it's going down and then back up a little bit, and then down and back up. So what price are we going to buy, folks? Here's the weekly graph. Right, started out at 88. Peaked up, way down, way up, up, down, up, down, up, down. It's been a wild ride, folks. Wild ride. So where should we buy? What should be our case here? If the price is less than what are we going to buy? Got to throw out a number for me while I drink my coffee. Never? Okay. That's fine. You could just say don't buy. I mean, yeah, obviously it's just a meme right now. 150. All right, you got it. So if it's less than 150, we're going to buy. Otherwise, we're going to hold. I'm going to give that a format. Looks a little prettier there. That's our conditions, right? Sure. Okay, how about let's do this. Let's do this even better. Okay, let's ask. Do you want gamble on GameStonk? And then we'll ask them, right? So we'll have a string for gamble is keyboard.nextLine. Okay, and then if gamble, now remember we can't use the double equals for strings, right? We have to say equals yes. If yes, all of this goes inside of this block. Oops, let me give that a format here. So all of this will happen inside an if. So I have an if inside of an if. This is a nested if, which is okay, right? It's just tabbed in. So if you want to gamble, great. Else we'll say you are wise, right? So if they said yes, let's S out YOLO. Okay, and then we'll ask them. Otherwise, we'll tell them that you're probably wise. It's literally a gamble here. The price of GameStop stock has nothing to do with the viability of them, profitability of them as a company, which is ideally what the market's supposed to be about. But again, I have my doubts. It's all nonsense, but that's okay. Don't take my financial advice. Right? Not take financial advice from me. This is just a meme. Okay, there's your warning. Okay, just a meme. There are reasons and there are other forces at play here, more than just financial viability of a company. But again, sure, why not? Okay, so if this is yes, remember with strings, for strings, use dot equals, not the equals sign. Okay, great. Let's give it a run. Let's see. Sorry, these get long. We have to answer a bunch of questions, but yes, it's sunny out. Temperature's 50. All right, do we want to gamble on GameStonk? Yes. All right, what's the price? 150. Hold. Uh-oh, because we said if it's less than 150, we should buy. So do be careful. Right? If you want it to be less than or equal to, you need less than or equal to. Sure. Yes, 50. Yes, we want to gamble. If it's 150, we buy. It has not dropped below 150 today, right? No, it didn't hit below 150 today. I guess people are buying. Okay. So you can put ifs inside of an ifs. So that's a nested if. If inside of another if. You're allowed to do that. Just everything inside the curly braces belongs to that thing. Right? So anything inside the curly braces will run if this is true. Excuse me. Just to make sure. So again, I wrote the code. I'm running it to make sure that eventually I get into these cases. I'm doing some testing of my code to make sure that if I don't tell it yes, that I get this output here. Because it's really easy to make mistakes. So let's try no here, 100 degrees. Be fine in a shirt. No, don't gamble. We're wise. Don't gamble your money. It is not a sure bet. Nothing's a sure bet in the market, right? We all right so far? Now let's do one last example here. I'm going to have an int magic number equals 42, and then we'll ask them to guess a number. Guess a number 1 to 100. And I'll have an int for guess is the integer.parseInt, right? ParseInt given keyboard.nextLine. Right, grab their line and check it. Now I'm going to use the equal. So I'm going to say if guess is equal to the magic number, we'll say you guessed the magic number. Else if guess is less than the magic number, I'm going to say that was too low. If it wasn't, oops, another curly brace. Notice they highlight, this is super helpful for you, by the way. When you click on a curly brace, it will highlight the matching curly brace for you. And even here, like down here on line 98, I put the cursor on and it pops up at the top. Hey, the matching one here was up at line 7. Super nice, okay? And else, so if it's not equal to magic number, it's not less than magic number, it must be if it's not equal and it's not less, we must be, if we're inside this else block, waiting for someone to shout out the answer here. That's right. Oh, wait. So if our guess isn't right and it's not too low, too high. Thank you, Dusty. Too high. Okay? So if, else if, else if. Now, this is not the only way to write this. Right? We could do this exact same thing differently. We could say if guess is less than magic, let's do greater than, right? Why not? Greater than magic number. We'll say too high. And then maybe we'll say else if guess is less than magic number. We'll say too low. And if it's not greater than is not less than, then my else can just be, there we go. You guessed it. Right, so there's multiple ways here. You know, same as above, just written different. Written, I think that's written, that's a word, right? There's multiple ways of doing something with our conditionals. We call these conditionals. If this, else, right? Conditional logic. Or decision structures, right? Make a decision. If this is true, do this. I've made a decision. Decision. Right? Exact same thing, right? It's just written differently. So whichever way you want to go about it is okay. Now, they will say, and technically this is correct, if you want to be the most efficient in your program, your first if should be the most common. So it's least common that they guess the number right, 1 to 100. So technically we don't want this one first, because what happens is the computer will check if this is true, and if it's true it runs, nothing else runs. So we're saving some computational time. We say if this is true, or if it's not true, I have to go check the next if. If that one's not true, I have to go do the next thing. So if I have a bunch of different things in my chain, I want the most common to be at the top so that it doesn't have to do more work than it needs. So that's one of those like efficiency optimizations. And for anything we're going to do in class, it does not matter at all. I will never pester you for this. By the time you get to data structures, it's worth mentioning. That's a 2353. That's a, algorithms analysis and data structures or whatever. I think we just call it data structures. But, if we want to optimize our code, yes, it matters. I don't care about optimizing, right? I'm not going to ask you to do that. You're just learning how to code the very first time. So I want to throw it out there that it's a good habit. But just keep that in your back pocket for, yes, it does matter eventually. And things like that, optimizations, are super important, and we need people in computer science who understand those sorts of things when you get to the millions and billions scale of stuff. Right? So if you're running code that's evaluating millions of transactions or billions of transactions a day, yes, optimization matters. Right? Yes, we want to do everything we can to eke out just a tiny bit faster, a little bit faster, because it's important when you scale that much. Okay? But for us, we could care less. Let's give it a shot. Let's see if we can guess the number. What should I guess here? Tell me what number to guess. $50. Too high. I mean, too high or too low, either one I'm pretty sure is just as likely, but I wouldn't put equals first because that's the least likely. But again, it's okay. Let's do another here. Let's write this again, another way. So let's say if guess does not equal the magic number. Then let's say if guess is greater than the magic number inside of that one. Why not? We'll S out too high. Else, if it's not equal and it's not too high, it must be too low. Oh, sorry. I don't know who that is. If it's not equal to, if it's not equal to, right? That's the, if it's not equal, go inside. Let me format that so it fits a little better. If it doesn't equal, it's either too high or too low. Otherwise, you guessed it. Again, just having some fun here, right? This is nested, an if, else inside of an if. Perfectly fine. Again, not optimal here, right? Yes, most of the time it won't be equal, but then we'll have to evaluate, is it not equal, and then is it greater than? So we're not really saving any time here with this sort of optimization. Okay? Yeah, I would probably do just like this, either greater than, less than, sure. Evaluations. Okay? Sure, just another way. Using nested for fun. Nested if for fun. Okay? All right, it's almost 11. I think we're due for a break. Why don't we take 10 minutes, go refill your coffee cup, and we'll check back and pick it back up from there. Don't forget, we do have study group today, right, at noon, right, I believe. Let's double check. Should be in the calendar in D2L here. Project 1 is coming up due soon. Where is it here? February 8th. So you have 1 week to get it in. Yep, study group today at noon. So project 1 is due in 1 week. Remember, at 10 a.m. I can't take this late because at 10 a.m. on February 8th, I'll be going over the solution to it in class right here on stream. I'll show you how I would solve it. Once I've showed you that, I can't take it from you. Okay, I was flexible in project 0 because I showed you what to do, right? Please do these steps. Let's just make sure our tools are working. This one was all you guys. Needs to get in, needs to be done on time. You have to commit your code to GitHub and then submit it to D2L. Give me the URL to your code on github.com. So I've had people say, oh, I put it in GitHub, I forgot to give it to you in D2L. Please, 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 please give it to me in D2L, right? Because otherwise it flags it as late, and then all sorts of things happen. It's not automatic, and I can do some checking, but if you make the person who's grading you do more work than they need to do, it irritates them. I'll be honest, right? Is that fair to say? Right? Am I allowed to tell you that it irritates me? So get it into D2L before 10 a.m. February 8th. The link to your code in github.com. I'll show you one more time what to do after we get back from break, okay? So let me fire up some music here, and we can go from there. Let's see. Where do we leave off? I forget where we left off. I think we're on this one. All right, folks. We'll come back in about 10 minutes. Go from there. Hey, gang. Sorry, I was sending an email here. We're trying to figure out the summer schedule. So, scheduling stuff should not be as hard as it is. But you have to get my department chair, the awesome, the legendary Dr. John Baugh, to approve it, and our dean. But our dean is out on sabbatical finishing his doctorate. So we have an interim dean who is doing her regular job plus filling in for our dean who's gone for the semester. So she's doing double duty. And then we have to get everything to the administrative assistant. And it just shouldn't be so hard. But okay, so I needed to swap classes. We got the word summer semester is officially mostly remote, just like this wonderful winter semester is. But I like doing stuff synchronously, so I needed to move a class to a different night so I could do it. Yeah. So if you are taking summer classes, and this is going well for you and you like my style, I'll be doing 2151 and 2353. So that's Java 2 or Object-Oriented Programming Java, and data structures in Java as well, if you want to take them over the summer. Ideally, you take Java 2 or 2151 before data structures, but you can take them at the same time. The content doesn't overlap, but it's just... I like to tell people it's better if they have more familiarity with Java before they jump into data structures, but there's no reason you can't. So if you want to knock those out, those are both required courses in our track, and I think they transfer a lot of places as well. So you know your mileage might vary, but check that out and see if you want to do the same sort of thing over the summer. Those will be night classes though, instead of split 2 times a week. This will be similar to the. Oh, you guys aren't in it, so that's fine. Probably run like 6 to 8-ish or so live on Twitch, with then some additional stuff online, some practice time. 2151 and then 2353. Just if you guys are planning for a summer semester. We just got the word, I think just on Friday, maybe the chancellor sent out the official notice, mostly remote. They don't think the vaccine rollout is going to go fast enough to be safe enough for us to bring back in-person classes everywhere. So we'll give it the summer, and then they're still officially deciding on fall, but we're hopeful fall can be in person again and back to mostly normal-ish after this vaccine rollout works, assuming we don't have any crazy variants that are resistant and we need boosters and all that nonsense. So turns out most of the faculty is old. That puts us at risk. So I'm not in the old category yet, thankfully, but I'm diabetic. So that puts me in the high-risk category. So that's fun. All right. Whew. So where do we end up, right? We ended up somewhere. Oh yeah, with ifs and elses. Let me pull this up. You got your first dough? Nice. That's awesome. I know my mother-in-law works at a grocery store. She's still waiting to get her first one. The system, I feel like, could be better, but you know, sure. They will tell her with a 24 hours notice that she can go get it the next day, and she has to show up wherever this place is and go get it done somewhere. So yeah, like, it seems like we could do something better, but yeah, I don't know. That's fine. As long as we're getting it out there, which is good. I just saw in the news, apparently the Upper Peninsula is doing better than us here in the Lower Peninsula, than us trolls below the bridge, at getting people vaccinated. They have a higher rate than we do, so good for them. That's pretty cool. I don't know. This has been crazy, but I'm glad we have some cool technology, and things are relatively quick. So I'm looking forward to getting back to normal. Okay. Yes. So writing some code, right? So if, else if, else if, else if. Okay. So let's do something else topical then, right? Right. How about we say, are you at, or have you had the COVID vaccine yet? COVID vaccine yet. And then we'll get a string for vaccine yet. Sure. Or vaccinated. How about that? I don't know if that's spelled right, but that's fine. Keyboard.next line. Next line. Now, when we were comparing strings, right, the things that users type in, we need to be a little bit careful with. So I'm going to say if vaccinated dot equals, and here you might notice, if you take a second to look at this suggestion here, there's an equals ignore case. I'm going to recommend you almost always use this one, because capital Y is not the same as lowercase y. Okay, so be careful here. So we can put a message that's awesome. Have a great dinner out. Else, oops. Else something, right? There we go. That looks closer. So you've been vaccinated, great. Go out and get some dinner. Go out and dining, right? After 10, 14 days, whatever it takes to build up your immunity. Follow all those guidelines. Don't take my medical advice. I'm not a doctor. Okay? Then we'll check. Let's do another one. Let's ask. Are you at high risk of complications from COVID? And we'll have a string for high risk. If string high risk equals keyboard.next line. And a semicolon there, right? Format. And you need next line? Next line. Format. Okay, and we can check. Nope, we don't need curly braces there. Why am I doing that? We could say if high risk dot equals ignore case. If you're high risk, yes. Then we'll say you probably don't want to go eat out at a restaurant. Restaurant. That's like the hardest word for me to spell. I don't know why. Else. It's February, Michigan. Go eat at your favorite place. I don't know. Something like that. Right, so all of this is going to be nested inside of here. Right, as things are starting to open back up, right, be careful. You know, it's a personal decision. We're not going anywhere. Most of my family got it already, so we should be immune. But I have one daughter who did not get it because she was at the hospital the whole time, and she already has breathing issues. So she's definitely in the high-risk category, and we will not be going places until she can get that vaccine. So, you know, that's a personal decision. Sure, why not? Right, we'll put this in. So this equals ignore case here, right? Java is case sensitive. So y does not equal y, right? So big Y does not equal a little y. Okay, so be careful here. So let's run it. Let's see what we get. So we'll illustrate that earlier up here. How about that? So this first here, sunny. So I'm going to say, if it's not sunny, oh, that's backwards. I shouldn't have had that reverses. Let me rerun it here. That's why this whole thing was wrong the entire time. Well, if it is sunny, so I'm going to put not yes in lowercase. So I'm going to put yes with a capital Y, and we're going to see this should not run because they don't match, because we're not ignoring case out here. So if I type yes with a capital Y, it doesn't tell me we should wear a funny hat because it didn't match ignoring case here. Okay, temperature, sure. No, we don't want to gamble. Guess a number 42. We guessed it. We had the vaccine yet? No, we haven't. Are we at high risk? Yes. Probably don't want to go eat out of the restaurant. Okay, again, just following along here. So now let me show you something cool. I don't think we've done yet. I'm going to show you what a breakpoint is. And this is debugging your code. This is super cool. So come over to the line numbers here. Source, right? Line numbers 105, 106, 107, on and on and on. Pick a line number where we want to pause. And I'm going to put at 113 here. I'm going to click. Notice it puts a little red square here, and the whole line turns red. What you can do with debugging is you can make the code run line by line by line, and you can see your variables. It's fantastic. You're going to learn to love your debugger. Okay, so I put the breakpoint in there, and now instead of hitting run, I want to hit debug, right? Or debug project, right? Instead of run project, debug project. And what it's going to do is when it gets to this line, it's going to stop and pause and wait for me to tell it what to do. It's fantastic. I'll show you. That's a weird thing to say. Not there. That's fine. Now, I need to come back to the chapter 3 tab here. So you get a couple tabs, right? It's still waiting for me to type in here. So yes, it's sunny out. We should wear a funny hat. Temperature is 50. Do you want to gamble on GameStonk? No. Guess a number. All right, we guessed it right. Now you see it came up here, and now I have a green arrow and a green line that's highlighted. Now I get some new buttons here at the top. So now in my tabs, I have output, right? So there's tabs inside of tabs. This is crazy here. But then the chapter 3 debug tab is where I get a type. This is where I'm interacting. I can switch over from the output tab to the variables tab, and I can see all of the variables that I've declared. Right? I have guess, I have a magic number, I have gamble, I have temperature, I have is sunny. I've got even the keyboard scanner thingy. Type of scanner, it's a, whatever, sure. So what I can do now is I can control the execution line by line by line. Most of the time we're going to use step over, which is the curvy arrow, or step into. Okay? Most of the time that's what we're going to use. So step over, we'll just go to the next line. Step into, we'll go into a call. We're not going to use that one too much right now. So I'm going to use step over. So it paused. It's waiting right here for us to tell it what to do. So now we can watch it run line by line by line. So step over. Excuse me. Now it's waiting for that next line to happen. So I got to come back to the output tab, and we'll say yes. I don't know. We'll say no. Why not no? Okay. Now you'll see the green line, the green arrow here, current program, is right at line 116. It's ready to check this. So we're going to step over. That was not true, so it jumps right into the else. Now we get into line 119. So we can follow our code line by line by line using the debugger here. It's going to print a line. We'll step over. It's going to ask if we're high risk or not. I'll come back here in my console. I'll type yes. Now it gets to the if. And I can check my variables, right? I can go back and see, hey, high risk, it equals yes. You can even change it here, which is fun. So you can change the value of your variables as it's running in the debugger here. Can you see where I clicked in there and typed? It's a little small. I can't zoom it. I'm sorry. But I'm getting a little hyper. I had a lot of coffee. I drank most of this mug, and I'm feeling really good. I'm kind of excited. Okay. You guys with me so far? So we can run the debugger here with stepping through, and we'll see that it was going to check. So if I do step into right now, it will go into the if block. And I can see, yeah, that one's going to run. Let me try that one more time here. Try it one more time. So I'm going to stop. Oh, not run. Stop. Run it with debug mode. And we're going to hit that breakpoint again in a minute. So I got to be in the output tab so I can be typing here. not the debugger console. I want the chapter 3 debug. That's what I want. There we go. So yes, it's sunny out. Temperature's 50. Gamble, no. Number 40, 52. Oop, that wasn't it. Anyway, so here we are. Vaccinated. Let's say yes. Okay, I come back to variables. I can see that. Oh, it's I got a step. Sorry. There we go. Now I got the yes. So if I step over, I'm ready to go. Step over is good. Let's go into the next line. The else doesn't run. So it jumps right from here, right? It skips all of this else. Remember, because we're mutually exclusive, we're done. That was it. So then the continue button is also helpful. It'll just run to the end. If you want to just check one section out and you want it to keep running, you can do continue. So the debugger is definitely your friend. We'll be using this way more often as we get into things now from chapter 3 on out. So we can see the value of our variables. And if you want to stop a breakpoint or get rid of it, you just click it again and it goes away. So breakpoints are super helpful. Okay, give me just a second here. Let me pop this open. I want to make sure we got everything we needed. Yeah, I can just do it right here. Pull out the highlights here of chapter 3. This, I guess, is the one downside of not using a PowerPoint presentation that I don't know when I hit the end of the slides, but I think we're pretty good. Yeah, so we were saving some for Wednesday. Don't worry, we didn't finish all of chapter 3. And I do hope you guys are reading along in the book. Can't recommend this enough. If you only listen to me, you're not going to get enough out of the class. Right? We have a textbook for a reason. This is your main source of reference guide here. I'm just giving you the highlights. Right? There's more to it than that. That's why I have weekly quizzes. Right? Every week we get a quiz because that's your incentive to go read the book. Now again, I don't expect you to read like every single word and try and memorize it all. No. You don't have to do that. But you have to do more than just read the bold words. I know how that works, right? You just kind of look through, oh, here's a bold thing, and you read like, a tenth of the page. You got to do more than that. So somewhere between just skimming it and reading every word, you got to know where the information is in the sections. And look at his examples, right? He's going to give you examples. I'll give you examples. We try and, the more often you see this and the more you practice it, the more you write code, the better you're going to get at it. Okay? That make sense? So I'm going to do one more example here. Let me just start up a new project so I don't have to do all that other nonsense. We'll call this chapter 3 guessing game. Okay, now the guessing game, right? We're just going to say guess a number. Right? We'll tell them if they got it right or not, but we're going to give them a couple guesses. Okay, so if we were to sketch this out, let's do this. Let's sketch it out here. We want to say we want a magic number. We want a number equals something between 1 and 100. I'll show you how to do that in just a minute, or get a random number, because Java can give us pseudo-random numbers, random-ish enough. Okay, we'll ask the user to guess. And then we have a decision, right? If it's too high, then we do something, right? We print too high. If it's not too high, then we have another decision, right? If it's too low, right? And then this all just continues on. If it's not too high, it's not too low, right? There's not a decision there, they win, right? This is just win. They want to be done. Then over here, we ask them to guess again. And again, we're going to repeat. We're going to say, okay, if it's too high, do something. If it's too low, do something else that's low. Sorry, my chicken scratches are getting terrible here. But this sort of idea, right? We want to give them maybe 5 guesses. Okay? So let's, for now, let's do this. If you want a random number, you can use the random class in Java. Random equals a new random. Random numbers are great. Okay, and it says, oh, I don't know what a random is. Yeah, we want to import java.util.random. I want the scanner for keyboard. Here's a new scanner. Given system.in. Okay, oops. And say, I don't know what a scanner is. Yes, we want to import scanner. Perfect. Okay, and now I'm going to have the magic number. To do that, we say random.nextInt. And now nextInt is screwy. So I'm going to say 100. I'm going to add 1 to it. Because nextInt will give you, int gives 0 to number not inclusive. So 100 will give me 0 to 99, plus 1 will give me 1 to 100. Here's 1 to 100 when we add 1. Okay, that's why I add 1 to it. There's other things you can do with random. We'll get to that later. Don't worry. We got lots of time for that. Okay, then I'll ask them to guess a number. Guess a number 1 to 100. Right? Sure. And I need their guess. Guess equals integer.parseInt keyboard.nextLine. Okay, I think, oh, got too many parentheses there. There we go. So basically what we did before, but now we're getting a random number to guess here. Now I need to check. Did you want to do too high first or too low first, or do we get it right first? Which one do you want to check first? We can do either. They'll all work. You tell me. Oh, whew. Too low. Okay, let's check. So we're going to say if guess is less than the magic number, we'll tell them too low. And then we should check, okay, if it's too high, so else if guess is greater than magic number, we'll tell them too high. Else, they must have got it right. Oops, else you guessed it. Now, what do we do here to give them another guess? What has to happen? Because if they guessed it right, they shouldn't guess again. Right? So if they guessed it right, don't ask them to guess again. How do we make sure we're not asking someone who already guessed it correctly to guess the number? Right? And this is where we're problem solving, right? This is how do we tell a computer that's stupid to ask them to guess again, right? If we just copy paste this, it's going to yell because we already said guess was an integer. We just reassign guess, so give it a new value to guess here. But how do we ask them? How do we make sure we don't repeat if they already guessed it? No, we can't use a break. We're not inside of a loop here. Dustin, you're getting ahead of yourself. What can we do to check to make sure they haven't guessed it right yet? Okay, what's the case? We're not using loops yet. We're still just here in conditionals. This, how do we know if they guessed it right or not? Right, we only want to ask them if they didn't get it right. So what's they didn't get it right? What can I put in here to say if they did not guess it right? Well, that's if they did get it right. Yeah, not equal. So if guess does not equal the magic number. Perfect. I want to do all of this stuff. Right? So all of this belongs inside of, okay, if it's not correct, ask again. And if I want to give them 5 guesses, sure, let's do that, right? So, you know, we can even count, right? Why not? Let's count it here. Let's have an int for number of guesses equals 0. And every time we ask them to guess a number, right, we'll take that number of guesses, plus plus, right? Let's add 1 to it. Right, we can add 1. You guys remember that? This isn't new. That's the increment. So I'll throw that in here. number of guesses. So then if they guessed it, we'll tell them, you guessed it in, add in there, number of guesses, add in there, so the string concatenation. Right, let's clean that up a little bit so it's nice and pretty. Tell them how many guesses it took. I got too many curly braces. There we go. Right? So we'll track how many guesses it took. Guess a number, your guess went up. If it's not, if you didn't guess it right, do it again. So now we can rinse and repeat, right? I can copy paste some code. That's 3 guesses, that's 4 guesses, that's 5 guesses, max. And then I'm going to quit after that. So now I'm going to say if the magic number, or if the guess doesn't equal magic number, we'll say, sorry, you lose, the number was, we'll add in their magic number. So I have this code in here 1, 2, 3, 4 times in addition to the first guess. So they should get 5 guesses. And if they don't get it in 5 guesses, we tell them they lose. Let's try it. So guess a number. 50. 50 is too high. Okay, we got to split the difference then. 25. That's too low, so somewhere between 50 and 25. What is it, like 37? 37 is too low. How about 43? 43 is too high. All right, one last guess. How about 40? Oh, we guessed it. Look at that. We got it right. 40. You guys want to see how to cheat? This is the magic number guessing game. Put a breakpoint right here at line 15. Right, come over here to line 15 and run it in debug mode. Don't know why that console keeps showing up. That's annoying. All right, so it's thinking. Now I go to variables. It hasn't been assigned yet, so I need to step one more time. I'm going to step over. Now I can see magic number is 20. Okay, magic number is 20. I'm going to go back to my output, and I'm going to hit continue. The green continue button. I just want to keep it running now. So I know it's 20, so let's just do some guesses for fun. Right, let's do like 30 is too high, 10 is too low, 20. We guessed it in 3 guesses. Look at that. We're so good at guessing. We are so good at this game. So the debug mode can help us see, right, what's going on with it. Okay, there's better ways of doing this. I know. Having to copy paste your code feels bad, but that's okay. It's just an illustration for right now. Okay? Now, a different way of doing this, and I don't recommend it, I like this way better, where we're saying, hey, if they haven't guessed it right, do it, is we could put this entire block of code inside of this else it was too low and nest 5 layers deep. The problem is you're going to have 5 tabs over, and you're going to run out of room on the screen, and you're going to feel bad about yourself. Because then you also have to have it inside of the too high. Right? And then each of those will have to have the too low inside of the too high, inside of the too low, inside of the too high. And it's going to get nonsensical, messy, really quick, really fast. Right? So we want to avoid that if we can help it. Now, sometimes you can't avoid it. You have to have an if inside of an if inside of an if inside of an if. Sure, that's okay if you have to. If you can avoid it, I definitely recommend it. Right? It'll just make things a little bit easier to follow, I think. That's my view on it. Okay? So we're going to try and avoid nested ifs. So that we're just avoiding it by saying, here's the check. This is what I really want to know. Okay, I can repeat. As long as I didn't get it right, guess again. Now, the other problem that happens is if you did something wrong in here and you've copy-pasted it 4 or 5 times, you don't have to go fix it 4 or 5 times. So just be careful. Like, there are some downsides to copy-pasting. Okay? One last time, I'm going to show you here. Let me pull up my GitHub client, and I'll show you how we can submit the correct URL to Desire to Learn. Make sure I've got my repository. Okay, so I put all of those projects inside my GitHub folder, right? And if you're never sure where it is, just come over to the project here on the left. You can hover over it. And it says, oh, it's in C, Users, Eric C, Documents, GitHub, CIS 1500, Winter 2021, Chapter 3 Guessing Game. Perfect. It's in the right folder. If it's not, that's okay. We can move it later. We can put it in there after. Just cut and paste. But it's in the right spot. So my GitHub client says, hey, I see a bunch of new stuff. So this is Chapter 3 examples. I'm going to commit. Right, so you give it a commit summary, and then you commit. And then this button will change to push here in a second. Go ahead and push. And then you want to go to repository, view on GitHub. If you can see it on github.com, I'll be able to see it on github.com. That's why we turn in URLs to github.com, because that's where your code is. Let's think about it here. Oh, I need to bring this tab down, sorry. Nope, tab down here. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go to Chapter 3 Guessing Game. I'm going to go into the source folder, find my .java file. If it looks right, give it a quick scan. Everything looks good in here. Grab that URL, and that's what you're turning into D2L. Oops, where's D2L? Right, go to your assignments. You can open it up, and you can submit it from there. Right, all you need to do is give me the URL. I have to do that as my student. You guys figured that out for Project Zero. I don't think you need me to show you again how to submit, but just give me that URL, okay? All right, I think we're good for the day. Got a couple extra minutes. Make sure you go grab lunch before study group at noon over on Zoom. You guys got any other questions before we call it a day? If not, I'll see you on Wednesday. Just pausing to see if anyone has any questions here. I know there's a little bit of a delay. Cool. Hats off to you, Dusty. Keep this one around for next time. Or maybe I'll have to find a different one. Awesome. Yeah, you guys reach out. I got office hours later this afternoon. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop by then. I don't think I've got any appointments set up yet. You're welcome to schedule an appointment for my office hours if you want. Make sure to reserve that time if I can. That one's first come, first serve. I don't have like an actual office you guys can drop in anymore. I missed that, but that's okay. All right. Great. All right. You guys take care. I'll see you around.